Hello, Steve White, Checkboy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, this is my beloved, the original Enterprise from the original series. Now, I'm a little confused about the state of the original filming model, the 11-foot filming model. Now, I know when it was delivered in 1964 for the original pilot, The Cage, it was perfect. It was complete. It could be filmed from any angle. But when they went into, I don't know if it was the second pilot or if it was the series, the start of the series, they decided it needed some more life and some light, and they literally put lighting in it. But unfortunately, they went cheap, and they basically just drilled through one side and lit the other side, and left the other side unfinished. And the idea was they'd only film one side, and they made up little signs with the writing in reverse. So they just have to flip the other signs on and then film it, and then they could flip the film and show the other side. And so basically it was left in this sort of unfinished sort of state, and it wasn't very dignified. And when they gave it to the Smithsonian in, I think, 1973 or something, or 72, I think, it went on display, but I think they basically just turned it sort of away from the crowd, so you wouldn't necessarily see the unfinished side. So a lot of people didn't realise that it was in that state. But at some point in 1991, they supposedly restored it. And I'd heard about this, and I was kind of happy about it because I'd always wanted to see the ship, and I didn't want to see it in this sort of unfinished sort of state. And then I heard that they'd basically put the lighting basically built internal lighting and got rid of the wires and painted both sides up. And unfortunately they'd done it with all these panel lines that were way too strong, because the original did have panel lines. Don't let anyone tell you it didn't. It didn't originally when it came in for The Cage, but after, I think it was when they were actually filming the series, someone was complaining that it was too wide, and there was this debate about should it have panel lines, should it not. And someone eventually just got a pencil and a ruler and just drew lines on the saucer section. I think it was only the saucer section, but there were lines on it. They were in pencil, but they were there. Now, I don't think they're red. I don't think you could see them. So I'm not sure, because they removed the original shots from the restored version when they scanned the film and all that. And some of the film does exist, that people have, put stars in the background and stuff like that. But I don't think you could really see it. So there were lines. So, but yeah, basically in 2015 and 2016-17, they basically restored the ship. And what their goal was to restore it to how it was at one particular point when it was filming. Not when it was first delivered fully intact and finished. Not when it was on display when most people saw it in the 70s or whatever. But no, they wanted to take it back to one point in filming. I'm like, well, what point in filming? When they first started filming? When they were in the first season? When I think they did a few shots in the second season. They did mostly first season and then just reused the shots. I think they did a little bit of filming in the second season. I'm not sure. They certainly didn't do any filming in the third season. I'm like, well, how do you pick which moment and which point? You just try to restore it to how it was when it finished filming? Or when it started filming, when it was first created? Like, how do you just pick a point, and then, other people, if they don't want to see it at that particular point, they just have to live with it, stuck in that moment in time. So I wasn't really happy with that. And I saw someone on TrekCore commenting on it, and I was like, okay, it looks great from that side, but then you walk around the other side, and, it looks cheap and unfinished, and it's embarrassing. It's like this great, the Starship Enterprise, and you see there are wires hanging out the side. It looks horrible. And I found out something today, and I'm like, really? Oh no. I hate being wrong. Everyone hates being wrong. But apparently, although they put the wiring inside and they did close off the holes where the wiring was coming out, apparently they didn't actually finish the other side. They put all these lines on there which were too dark. They put all the panel lines on in 91, and they did look too much. They needed to redo that and fix that. But yeah, apparently they didn't actually put all the windows and all that on the other side. I'd seen pictures of it where they apparently did. I don't know if someone reversed the shots, like, you're meant to do in the old days, or if, I think maybe someone might have mixed up photos of I think Andrew Probert did the Enterprise for Trials and Tribulations. I think it was like 7 foot or something. It was a really big model, but not as big as the 11-foot one. Or 12-foot one, I can't remember exactly how long it is. And yeah, I saw some articles about that, and I was really excited because I always wanted to see the ship. And I thought, oh, finally, when I see it, at least it'll be restored, it'll be complete. I won't have to look at one side of it, wires and stuff hanging out and all that. And then I heard when they did the restoration in 2017, they may have restored the original look and gave it, the beautiful look without all the, overdone panel lines. Although they did miss out the ones on the top, I think, the pencil lines. They pulled the wires back out and drilled the holes again and put it back to how it looked back then. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, sure, I have pictures of what it looked like when it was filming, but have the actual model look better than that. And I mean, if you'd gotten it in that state and you were maintaining the state it was originally in, preserving it, that would make sense. But if it's already been altered and restored and finished to an extent, all you're doing, you're just changing it, you're faking it. It's fake. That's not what it really looked like when you got it. You're trying to make it look like it did at one point in the past. You've just picked a random point and said that's what it is. That's what the Enterprise is for us. That's how we define it. So we're going to put it in that moment in time forever, and everyone else just has to look at it in that state, even if they don't want to see it with wires hanging out and looking like, a cheap sort of. It must be. It's just embarrassing. It's like, oh, the Enterprise, and there is wires hanging out, and one side's not even finished. I really hate it like that. And I think they should have just kept the wiring inside, finished off that side, made it match the other side, made it look beautiful, and then just had a lot of pictures of how it looked during filming so people could be informed about what it looked like and still see it in its original state, but not with that unfinished side. I really think I think it was a mistake. I understand that that was their decision and they have done it accurately. It looks exactly like it did back then. They did a good job in that sense, but I think it was the wrong idea. And a lot of people agree with me. I comment on here and there, and a lot of people, this is like I've commented a lot over like the last couple of years, after it was done, when I think it was briefly on display, and then it was taken down when they were renovating the building the museum that it's in. Now it's back out again. It's finally on display again after like I think 2 years being put away. But so I just want to make a video talking about that, because I hate being wrong, but I'm always going to admit when I'm wrong, and I am wrong that they didn't finish the other side. They did take the wiring off and put the wiring inside and kind of closed it off, but they didn't actually paint it. So whatever photos that I was shown or seen, apparently I think someone must have mixed up a different model. And the only other model that could be confused with this filming model would be the one that I keep saying Andrew Probert, but I think it was Andrew Probert who did it in 1996 for Trials and Tribulations, because they were still using models in the 90s, but they were becoming less and less, particularly like in like 96, they're becoming less and less, standard. So the fact they made an actual new Enterprise model and a big one, and they made a K7 as well. I think they made the Klingon ship. They made all of them, and it was a brilliant model show, that episode. I think maybe someone had photos of that, and they put them up and they got mixed up, and I was shown those. But I was sure it had the model lines as well. So I don't know. It's just frustrating because they didn't finish that side, and I was wrong, and I hate being wrong. But I still think I'm right about the direction of the restoration. I think they should have restored it to how it looked when it was first delivered in the overall condition, but with the updated details like, the light in the cells and that, like it actually appeared in the TV series. Which means it wouldn't be accurate for either state in that sense. But who wants to see it with wires hanging out and one side not finished? I don't think anyone really does. I mean, it's interesting, but once you get past that, oh, really, that's how they filmed it? It gets old real quick. And to leave it like that permanently forever, I mean, like I said, some photos of the history of its filming are interesting. You can read them when you're looking at the ship and then move on. And you're just thinking of the ship as the Enterprise. And like the person from Trek Core was like, it's not supposed to be the real Enterprise. It's supposed to be the filming model, how it looked. And I'm like, well, that's how they want it seen. That's how they see it. That's the moment of time that they think of it as quintessentially the Enterprise. And, it's in its real state or whatever. But other people don't see it like that. They see it as a finished model. And it was pretty much finished. Well, at least it had the wires put back inside and had internal lighting. And once that was done, they should have just stayed with it, because changing it again, it's not authentic. It's not real. You are actually faking an earlier state that it was in. So there isn't any integrity to it. So why do that? Just have it in its best state. Have it at its best. So yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I just wanted to make a video about that, partly because I just wanted to talk about the history of it and all that. And I also did want to acknowledge that I was wrong on one part, but I think I'm right about the rest. And I think other people will agree with me. And I do look forward to seeing it, but I don't know if I'm going to look at the other side. I don't know if I can. I don't want to break the illusion. And, yeah.